Welcome to Speak Up SLC with Mayor Jackie Biskupski. I'm your host, Poonam Kumar. For those of you that are joining us today, please join us in our chat room live if you've got questions for the mayor, or you can tweet us at #SpeakUpSLC. Mayor, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Well, Mayor, I just have to say I'm so proud to be a resident of Salt Lake City. Not only do we embrace a diversity within our community, but we're very progressive and we're moving onward towards that.
Yes.
And just recently, you and the council just responded to anti-LGBT legislation from North Carolina and Mississippi, right? So tell me a little bit about that.
You know, our city is a leader when it comes to non-discrimination, and I felt like it was very important for us to send a message to our employees and to the community that as a city, we won't support when government acts in a discriminatory fashion, no matter where that is, and that sending that message out really was powerful. We found that people were very appreciative that we won't be spending taxpayer dollars traveling to those states when there are things like that are happening.
Right. Now, and because you also issued an executive memorandum too to ban city employees from traveling to Mississippi and North Carolina, and so now that's starting right now, right?
That's
and
happening.
It's in effect now until whenever it may be, right?
Whenever it may be.
Okay.
Yes.
And you've also invited businesses in these places in North Carolina and Mississippi to resettle here in Salt Lake City.
That's right.
And on Twitter, you had some stuff from PayPal.
Yes. Yeah, you know, there are companies that are not wanting to expand in those communities that are equally as frustrated. And what we are saying is, look, come to Salt Lake City, relocate. You will find the community you're looking for.
Right.
And we're reaching out to several companies.
Well, that's exciting.
Yes,
and we've got room for growth here in Salt Lake City for
room.
economic development.
That's
So
right.
good. That's wonderful. And now you're not the only mayor that's doing this. There's other mayors throughout the United States that you've joined. It's a Mayors Against Anti-Discrimination group, right? So tell me a little bit about that.
You know, the Council of Mayors across this country is a pretty strong group. We really are trying to help each other be successful. We want to make sure that we get together a couple times a year and roundtable things that are happening in our communities. And it is not infrequent for the mayors across this country to do things together to send a message. And I think it's very important. You know, we are really kind of that first line of government contact in our communities, and people really appreciate when the mayors are visible and speaking up for them.
Right. Well, thank you for doing
You're
that
welcome.
on Speak Up SLC.
Right.
So we've been making a lot of strides, and also in terms of addressing homelessness within our community as well. And back during the legislative session, I know that we were approved to receive over, was it $27 million over 3 years, as well as a little over $9 million this year to help with like resource centers and things like that.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So some of that money is ongoing. It will go towards the service model that we're creating through the county. And then some of that money will go toward prevention, trying to keep families in their homes to begin with. A chunk of that money is intended to help create a new resource center in Salt Lake City. And so on Monday, I'm convening a site selection committee.
Which will be led by Gail Miller and former Mayor Palma DePaulis, right?
Yes.
Which they've done so much work within the last year,
they've done so much work, and they want to continue the work. It's very important to them to see this through, and we're excited about that. We are bringing other mayors into the fold. This needs to be a statewide solution that we are creating, and mayors who are providing these services throughout the state want to participate in how we determine site selection criteria, and then also make sure that that criteria is transferable to other communities.
Right. And one of the things that you guys were also looking at is more of a specialized approach, right? So looking at the facilities not only to house, our communities, our larger, those that are experiencing homelessness, but also looking at facilities to tailor more towards like single men and single women and families with children, right?
Breaking up the population, became very clear that it was needed for a number of reasons. And one of the things that came out of our success on Capitol Hill this year was the funding that is needed to keep the Midvale Family Shelter open year-round.
Right.
And then some of the funding that we have acquired will be spent to make sure that that facility actually can be year-round. So like an air conditioning system and playground equipment and other things that will be needed to make it much more family-friendly and usable year-round.
Right. So the first step is meeting with the Homeless Services Site Selection Committee, right?
Yes.
And that's happening on Monday. Is that open to the public?
It is open to the
okay.
public. It's one of those meetings where we will all sit down and we will talk about kind of first steps and the direction we're heading. There'll be some people on conference calls. Some of the mayors that are participating are, living in, like, from St. George, for instance. So living in kind of far areas, but we'll conference them in to make sure they can participate.
And you've been in a lot of discussion too with the LDS Church too about this topic, and it sounds like they're being very supportive, and it really
Very
is
supportive.
a community-wide,
It is.
everyone coming together on this topic.
They will be at the table, as will so many others who have been involved in this process from last year as well.
Right.
So.
Well, that's exciting. Another big win here for Salt Lake City. And now there have been some state changes to the RDA, right? So some state law changes, and your role now is the new executive director. Let's talk a little bit about that and what your role is and what does that mean?
So in 2008, while I was a legislator, we had changed the statute and really kind of clarified the roles of government and the oversight of the RDA. Well, that change really was not adhered to in Salt Lake City's government process. And so the change that is coming will bring us into compliance with state statute.
Okay.
And that change gives me the title of executive director.
Okay.
And really what you will find now is that moving forward, it will be my job to make sure we are implementing the policy ideas and concepts that are coming from the legislative body, which is the council, which serves as the board of the
RDA. Gotcha. And so the business will kind of go as usual in terms of what the council is doing, because they'll go through as you propose, or not propose, but as projects come about from you, then they would then approve that. Right, they'd go through the legislative body.
There will be some changes in what goes on. It is their job to kind of set policy, and then it is our job to implement and move projects. So there will be some change in how this operates. Most of that change will really come my direction with more responsibility with myself and the RDA staff.
Okay.
But the council will continue to have a significant role in how we develop through the RDA.
And so that's quite a bit of, not
It's a
only are you
shift.
mayor now, but you're also, the role of executive director. And is there a need for additional staff at this time?
No, I'm not planning to hire additional staff at all. We really want to empower the RDA teams, those employees, to do the work that we're asking them to do. I will analyze what we are creating, and when we hire our executive director over the economic development department, once we have that person in place, that person will be streamlining our business development opportunities and our RDA opportunities to make sure that we are maximizing our full potential and benefit of the work that's being done with both those arms.
Okay. And now, just to kind of backtrack a little bit about the RDA, what is their role exactly as the redevelopment agency here in Salt Lake City?
You know, it really is their job to take property that is owned by the city and really maximize the needs of our city and especially that particular neighborhood in a way that serves the entire city well, and then that local community in the city as well. And so it's important that we are looking at those opportunities for job development, for
which
housing,
affects residents, right?
which affects residents, you know, services. All of those things get folded into projects that are under the umbrella of the RDA.
Right. And so your intention too is that you're also going to be trying to find, and I don't know if the title would be Chief Administrative Officer or Manager of the RDA to kind of run that stuff, or whatever the name
whatever
may be.
the title.
Sure.
So there will be under the Executive Director of the Economic Development Department will be the individual who has oversight over the RDA. As a deputy director role, potentially could be the title. And then the other arm of it will be business development and arts and culture.
Okay.
And that deputy director role as well will exist.
Okay, well, this is exciting. And I know that on your public schedule, you have been meeting and interviewing some people for that new position in economic development, too.
Yes,
so
very exciting.
So that is exciting. I'm sure it still will take some time to fill that position, but, you know, got to make sure we've got the right person. And then just lastly on that topic, too, you're still working with the city council, and I think you guys are reconvening again in May to talk about the bylaws and stuff as you're working through that process of roles and who does what and everything. So, well, Mayor, we've got a viewer question. So let's turn to that and see what we've got here today.
Okay.
And today's question, we've actually got two, so let's go with the first one here. Comes from Brad Bartholomew. I'm messing up here. Brad Bartholomew on Twitter that says, what can we do to even out the distribution of the low-income housing to avoid all of it just being on the west side?
Right.
So,
and you know, as we have been moving forward, I am very clear in my policy ideas and concepts, and I think the council is mirroring that as well. And that is, we want to create housing opportunities with very diverse income within those housing opportunities, so that people can live anywhere in the city, and that level of income really doesn't decide where you live. And I think that's very important, especially as we move towards integrating this community in a way that we just haven't done before.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And then we've got another question here on Twitter from Frank Bardsley. He says, hello, Mayor.
Hello.
Are there any programs you hope to see happen in SLC that are not currently available for the public?
Programs. You know, right now we are very focused on our budget, and I think it's really kind of driving what we can and cannot do this year. We have a budget shortfall that we are trying to manage. And as we get through that, my focus is really on driving an agenda that came from my State of the City address. You know, what we realized that was going on in the city that was going well and what wasn't going well, and then what steps could we take to improve on that. And I think that at this stage, we're not really launching new programs, but we are taking a hard look at some of the current programs and maybe how we could redefine those or utilize them to a better benefit, bigger benefit in this community. The other thing I'll say to this viewer is that it's really important that if you want to help us, to look at everything we have to offer for appointments through boards and commissions, and you can
get
just
involved that way.
Go online and play a role in the work that we are doing and participate, have a voice. It's really important that if these things matter, that get in the game. We would love to have that.
No, that's wonderful and great
Yeah.
advice. Thank you. Well, we are wrapping up with the show. Are there any, last things that you would like to say just to residents or words of encouragement for the week?
Right. I do want people to know that things are going well.
Mm-hmm.
We hope to have all appointments wrapped up within the first 6 months
Mm-hmm.
of my being on the job, along with finishing a session and completing my first budget.
Which is May 3rd,
Which
right?
is May 3rd. And then from there, we will just continue to do the work.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really quite pleased and proud of the people that work for us and all that they are doing
Mm-hmm.
and the excitement that you witness as you are working with different teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's been extremely fun. And I think as we grow as a city, the opportunities we're hoping to create
Mm-hmm.
are very important. I'm still keeping a very close eye on public education and the selection of the new superintendent and how we as a city can partner with our school district to make sure that more kids are successful academically. None of that's going to leave me and is a huge priority. So.
Well, thank you. Thank you
You're
so much
welcome.
for joining us today, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. And for viewers, thank you for watching. Please continue to send us your questions, or you can tweet us at SpeakUpSLC or send them to our chat room. And we hope you join us in 2 weeks. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.